Welcome to the Live Life Well podcast for busy women. As a busy mum myself, I understand how hard it can be to look after ourselves. But hopefully this is a space for you to take time out, find connection, and get some simple takeaways to live life well, mind, body and soul. Let's jump in. So hi and welcome. We're so glad you're here today, and I hope this is just a chance for you to slow down a bit in your busy day and take some time out for you and to get some little tips and takeaways to how to take care of yourself inside and out. And I've got a fabulous guest to help us do that today. Today I'm joined by the wonderful Claire Moore, who is the owner and director of Believe and Achieve, which is a Sheffield-based award-winning women's gym. And I love that you say you focus on health and happiness without extremes, Claire. I love that kind of tagline. That's what we're all about here. Mm-hmm. So Claire, do you want to tell us a bit about you, maybe a bit about that journey to starting Believe and Achieve and why you're passionate about women's wellbeing?
Okay, it's quite a story. So
okay.
Years ago, I was a primary school teacher. I did that for a long time. And I was kind of one of those people who, as long as I moved a bit, I stayed at a size 12. So everything was just fine. I could eat what I wanted. It wasn't a problem. And then in my mid-30s, I changed jobs and I got a job in Manchester. And I was commuting there each morning. So it was a really early start, really late finish. Obviously, I was busy. So I was telling myself I didn't have time for the gym. I would kind of grab a Kit Kat on the way to the station. It was lunch out. And then because I was obviously in my mid-30s and bodies change naturally as we get older, suddenly I started a job in the August, and by the Christmas, I was 2 dress sizes bigger. Okay. And I was kind of like, whoa. And it wasn't just about the dress size. It impacted all of my life. It impacted my confidence, my energy, my sleep, my happiness. I just felt awful. And I thought, right, come January, great time to start, obviously. But I thought I need to either buy bigger clothes and accept this, or I need to do something about it. And I decided to do something about it. And that was when I discovered HIIT training, so high intensity interval training. Local place, they already had 3 classes a week. I was like, right, committed to it. Let's get signed up. Started exercise. And the brilliant thing about exercising is that once you start moving more, you feel proud of yourself, then you start feeling better, then you want to start eating better. And we get into, I've been in this really negative cycle of bad food, no movement, feeling rubbish, bad food, no movement. And then all of a sudden I was starting to move a bit more and I was starting to feel a bit better. So I wanted to eat better to help with the exercise. And I got into this positive cycle and I started to feel great. And I was really fascinated by the impact of food and exercise on our bodies and how I could have been so different in such a short space of time. So I decided to do the gym instructor's training course purely for my interest. I wanted just to learn more about the body and how it worked. And I'm kind of one of those people, Jo, that when I do something, I do it properly. I like to, really get into it. So I did that and it was great. And then the gym that I'd been training at said, oh, we could do with somebody teaching at the weekends. Do you fancy it? I was like, well, okay, why not? It was fun. It was a great atmosphere, so great. And then a few people were doing the personal training qualification. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. It was 1 night a week over the course of a year. And again, it was purely just for fun and my own development in kind of getting my best way of living. But I really enjoyed it. And as part of the PT qualification, you have to train 3 people for 6 weeks and do them as case studies. And I found 3 ladies and I loved it. It was amazing. And one of them, even, she was borderline diabetic when she started. And when she went back to the doctor at the end, he was like, this is brilliant, you're great. And I'm like, wow, amazing. This is fantastic. And it just so happened, I love the way the kind of universe sort of really makes things happen when it's meant to be. And the job I was doing in Manchester was coming to an end. So I kind of took redundancy. And I decided to go back teaching, but part-time. So I did 3 days teaching and I did 4 days as a PT. Did that for a kind of, 2 terms of school. Then I read the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Brilliant book. Yep. Anybody's looking to make some changes. And I thought, right, I'm going to go for it. There was plenty of hours at the gym. where I was working, I thought, you know what, I've just got to. My mother was mortified. She was like, how can you possibly give up such a secure, well-paid, job? And I was like, no, I've got to do it. So I started working full-time in this other gym, and I started training people PT. But I really realized I wanted to just work with women. I am one, I get it. I understand the emotional eating. I understand the busyness. I understand everything that's kind of going on. And I was working in this other gym, and because it wasn't a private gym, there was no private space to work out. People were leaving equipment. And I was like, do you know what? I need my own space. And again, I kind of started looking, and I just ended up driving through somewhere near where I live that I would never normally drive through. And there was a sign, available to rent. And that was in summer 2013. So I opened tiny, it was 700 square feet. It was just tiny. And initially it was to do one-to-one, but then the semi-private training just kind of came out of that. And then, where are we at? 2022, we moved into a larger space. So we've still got the same idea, but it's just, we're slightly bigger now. So yeah, it was never intentional. I never thought I wanted to be a PT, never thought I wanted to have my own business. It just was meant to be, I guess. It just happened, and it's evolved over the time, and it's a great space. My mission has always been to provide a safe, welcoming space for every woman, regardless of age, ability, size, experience. Because the fitness industry, I love it because it's got something for everybody. It's it's a really vibrant industry, but at the same time, it can be a little bit intimidating. If you've not worked out for a while, it can be a little bit scary going into a big space where you think everybody else knows what they're doing. They don't. But it looks that way. So it can be scary to make that first step. And I wanted to be that stepping stone into the fitness industry for women that maybe wouldn't otherwise work out.
That is all amazing and so inspiring. I've not heard your full story, so it's really lovely to hear it in a nutshell. I'm sure there's more to it. There was more ups and downs along the way, but I can just see from following you on social media, and I visited your last gym, I can just sense the gorgeous community that you've created, that you have a safe, inspiring space for women. And there's nothing better than getting to support a woman on that journey from going from struggling with their health to feeling amazing. Like that's lady who reversed her diabetes. That's amazing. And the joy. I get to do that a little bit with my clients, and you through nutrition, and you do movement and nutrition and that community. And it's such a privilege, isn't it? Just to be that little part of someone else's journey, just to create space for women to think about themselves and to put themselves first, and to create habits that support them to feel great. There's nothing like it, really, is there? And it sounds like your motto really has been to feel the fear and do it anyway, like giving up your career, getting premises, going from strength to strength. So that's such a great message to hear. When you've got that dream and that goal, that thing that brings you alive and you're so passionate about it, you've just got to follow your heart, because life's too short to do anything else, isn't it?
Yeah. And do you know what? It's scary. And there are times when you think, why am I doing it? And, and there's moments when you sort of think it's not going to work, but then the good outweighs the bad. And for me, it's a lot of women do come to me, Jo, say, I want to lose weight. And that's what they think is going to make them happy. But for me, it's like at the end of the first 4 weeks when they say, God, you know what? I slept all night, or I climbed the stairs without having to stop, or I was able to get up off the floor or play with my grandchildren, or, it's when you start seeing impact on people's lives, that's when it really kind of hits home, the power of helping these women and bringing them all together. So it's a real honor to be able to do it. And I always say to them, do you know what? We are just a guide. It's all the work, all the results are down to them.
Absolutely.
Whether it's successful or if it works or it doesn't, that's down to them. We just guide them. But what we really try to do is not just improve their physical feeling or appearance or whatever it is they're after, but it's all mental as well, Jo. It's getting them to love themselves again and realize that, you know what, their body is amazing. They might not like the size of it, the shape of it, the way it feels at the moment, but it's an amazing piece of machinery. And the more that you look after it, the more it's going to reward you. And if you do this journey through love and respect, it's going to be far more enjoyable and far more successful, because actually being able to work out is a real privilege. It's not a
Yeah.
chore. It shouldn't be seen as a punishment. We should be absolutely thrilled that we have got the ability to get up and work out. And okay, you might be on the light weights, you might be walking, not running. That isn't an issue. You're moving. And that's a real privilege. And it's a real way to respect your body. And the same with food, like what you talk about, Joanne, kind of nourishing our bodies. Now, we don't ban anything food-wise at the gym, because as soon as you ban it, you want it, and it becomes good food, bad food, and we just want to get away from that completely. It's about, will this food give me energy or will it drain me? And actually, sometimes you choose to have the food that's maybe going to drain you because it's nice and it's a treat, and that's absolutely fine. But if we just have more of the nourishing food, then that's how we create that balance. And it's really just trying to get women, I'm always on about small, enjoyable changes that become new habits that lead to a healthy lifestyle. That's it. If we can do that, we've nailed it.
Oh, preach it, preach it. I love it. Everything you're saying, I'm like, yes. Come on. This is what we need to hear more of. And definitely, like, weight is such a tricky one as a woman, isn't it? Because of what society teaches us. That's something we have to like restrict ourselves and to look a certain way because the media tells us to. I mean, what is that about? But actually, sometimes that's just the thing that gets you started, that you think that's your goal, like you're saying. And for you said that's really how it all started for you. And that was like the measure that motivated you to like change your habits. But then actually by changing them, you realize it's about so much more than that. It's about how you feel, isn't it? It's about having energy. It's about your mental health. It's about having the energy to run about after your kids, like you're saying. So such a good message. Love it all. So I love to ask all my guests this, and you've kind of answered it a little bit in terms of what you do and what you're passionate about. But what does living life well mean to you? What does like a life well lived look like?
So for me, it's about having the energy, the ability, the vitality to do everything you want in life. So it's about being able to sleep well, to be able to get out of bed in the morning, not aching. It's about being able to pick your kids up or your grandchildren up if you want to, or spend the day gardening without worrying it's going to hurt, or be able to say yes to that ramble out at the weekend or whatever. It's just being able to get the most out of life, because it's so short and we're only here for such a minute amount of time. And we seem to spend, and I'm guilty, when I kind of talk about this, I never like it to come across, I hope it never comes across as preaching or judging, because everything I'm talking, I've done myself. So it's not, it's from my own experience. I'm not a PT, I don't get out of bed and do 200 burpees and eat broccoli all day. I kind of...
What? You don't?
No, I'm sorry to break the illusion. But I used to spend so much time. I'll be happy when I've lost weight. I'll be happy when I'm a dress size small. I'll be happy when, I've got this different job. I'll be happy. And we're trying to kind of eradicate that. And actually, if you focus on your happiness now, then all the good stuff comes anyway. I've worked with people in the past, Joe, who kind of in the old gym, who came a lot, and they used pure willpower to lose weight, and they lost a lot of weight. But they didn't work on their mindset. So the weight went back on, because they thought, I will be happy when I've lost weight. Well, actually, they lost the weight, but they still weren't happy, because whatever was going on to make them overeat in the first place hadn't been resolved. So nobody overeats because we're greedy. We overeat because we either are trying to block something out we don't want to think about, or we're trying to fill a gap of something that's missing. That's what needs to be dealt with, not the food. And if you don't deal with those two things, then unfortunately, it doesn't matter. The diet just will not last, because eventually you'll just succumb to those feelings again. So for me, a life lived well is balance, and it's about having those healthy habits in place. And I always try to explain habits as a bit of a brick wall. So it's, one brick is maybe drinking more water, one brick is getting your 10,000 steps, one brick is sleeping well, one brick is taking 5 minutes peace and quiet walk. So individually, they don't make an awful lot of difference, but you put them all together and you've got a really solid foundation for health. And that to me is, just having the vitality, the energy, the ability, the enthusiasm, just to get everything you want out of life, and not in however many years' time turn around and say, oh, if only. Because we've got women who, I'll go on holiday when I've lost weight. I'll wear a bikini when I've lost weight. I'll go dating when I've lost weight. I'll go for that job when I've lost weight. No, stop it. Do those things now, because they'll make you happy. And then when you're happy, you won't eat the comfort food. And we need to flip it.
Yes, like switch from a sort of negative cycle, like I will do this when, but switch that to start doing the things that bring you happiness, and you'll make good choices. And if you make good choices, you'll feel happier. So really those habits like underpin the joy, don't they? The habits are the means to the end, and the end goal is living a joyful, energetic, happy life, aren't they? Which is just gorgeous. And that's what we're all aiming for, isn't it? So I love that. So we're going to talk about goals today, because I know obviously this is something you support women with in the gym, working towards their fitness and wellbeing goals. And I also heard you do a fantastic webinar on this a year or two ago, all kind of around goal setting. And I think it's quite an interesting topic, because I feel there's almost a taboo now around setting goals. It's almost like, oh, don't set yourself up to fail, don't put pressure on yourself, just live your life a day at a time. But I think it can be really positive to have goals, things to work towards. I'm a big believer in having, like, knowing your purpose and knowing your values in life, because otherwise what's it all about? Like, what are you focusing your time and energy on? So yeah, just talk just a bit about that. Like, why do you think goals are important, and why as women?
I'm obsessed with goal setting, maybe a little bit too obsessed with goal setting. But yeah,
Right.
I think it's absolutely essential. If you were going to drive to somewhere you've never been to before, you wouldn't set off without a map. I mean, that's like a really simple way of putting it. So it's about knowing what you want, getting a really clear action plan in place, and helping you get there. Now, that's not saying that if you've got goals, you're going to achieve them every single time, because that is absolutely not the case. So goals are really brilliant at getting us excited about helping us make those changes that become the new habits. And like you said, I love the word purpose. It's all about, purpose. And I think if we're not growing, we're dying. So if we're not trying to kind of develop ourselves and be the best version of ourselves on an ongoing cycle, then life becomes very stale. And we kind of, I think, and I don't think it would even be a case of if you didn't set goals, you would just stay fine. I mean, I've never tried it. I don't know. I think maybe if you didn't set goals, you wouldn't.
I can't imagine what it'd be like.
No, I don't know. How does most people live? I don't know. But it would go down, surely, because I wouldn't. I don't think there's a possible way of just staying in the same state without kind of having something to look forward to and work on. And now, when we talk about goals, obviously this relates to every single part of your life, but obviously we'll just focus on kind of health and fitness. But I think my top tips, first and foremost, is stay away from the number goals. So a lot of time people, I want to lose a stone, I want to lose 2 dress sizes. Well, I mean, who's going to get excited about that? It's just...
It's a negative way of framing it, isn't it? You're losing something.
Yeah, horrid. But also, the problem with it is we've probably tried it many times before. And we're probably thinking, well, do you know what? I'm going to lose a stone. And then... So that means I'm going to have to cut out the bread, cut out the alcohol, cut out the sweets, cut out the social, cut out the tea. And straight away you're like, oh, God. You're feeling a bit miserable about it straight away, because you're looking at it from what you're going to be restricting yourself, what you're going to be cutting out. And I think if it is something we've done many times, no matter how fired up we are at this given point, there's that little voice in our head saying, yeah, but it's not worked before. Mm-hmm. So I think you already go into it a little bit like, oh, yeah, it probably won't work. So what I would strongly suggest is that when you're thinking of your goals, it's got to be something emotional that creates feeling. So rather than I want to lose a stone, it might be I want to wear that dress. I want to feel comfortable on the beach. I want to be able to climb the 3 peaks. I want to be able to wear my wedding day or whatever. Get kind of excited about a thing, an actual event, an activity, something that you can visualize yourself doing and probably maybe never done before. So you've not got that negative past experience kind of coming at you. And it's got to be something that really gets that fire going in your belly, that you're really looking forward to, because when those emotions start really coming out, that's when you're going to get excited about it. And that's where the enthusiasm and the motivation comes from. Really know your why you want to do this. Now, if it's because you think, well, I should, then we really need to rethink it. Goals should be, I think so quite often, like you said about the media and we kind of do things because we think we should be a size 12, we should be this dress that we should. Actually, if you are really comfortable, happy, fit, healthy, active, size 60, brilliant. It's your individual journey. So you have to, decide on your goals for you. Then absolutely vital, you write it down. Do you know it's something like only 4% of people write goals down? Bonkers. That means that as soon as you write it down, you're in the top 4% of people likely to succeed.
Yeah.
And it's because by writing it down, we're taking ownership of it, we're taking responsibility for it. Whereas if we just keep it in our head, yeah, I'd like to lose a dress size, yeah, I'd like to, it's just a bit of a wish. It's a bit, there's no real accountability for it. It's just kind of floating around somewhere. So we want to write it down, and that holds us accountable. Then I think with the goals, you have to be really honest. You have to be really honest with the amount of effort and work you're willing to put in. So somebody might come to me at the gym and say, right, Claire, I want to lose a stone in a month. Right, okay, I mean, it probably is doable, but do you realise that to lose a stone in a month, you're going to have to, like I've said, cut out the alcohol, cut out all processed food, so there's no bread, there's no crisps, there's no sweets, there's no takeaways. You're going to have to get at least 10,000 steps in every day, so not just Monday to Friday, and you're probably going to have to train 5-6 days a week. I don't know about you, Jo, but I don't want to live like that.
That sounds a lot.
Sounds like not my idea of a fun month. So they'd have to kind of think, well, if I don't want to do that, well, how about we say, let's lose a stone in 3 months? Oh, all right. And straight away, you can kind of feel a little bit of like relief, because that's actually really doable. That's a pound a week. Okay, so really, a pound is 3,500 calories. You could just cut down your calories by a few hundred a day and achieve that. But actually, if you ate 3 meals a day, and you could eat the same meals as your family, so there's not this panic of like, well, I've got to cook for them, I've got to cook for me. So 3 healthy meals, drink your water, get your 10,000 steps in a day. And do you know what? If you could move a bit more 3-4 times a week, 3 months, you'd probably do it.
That sounds much better. That sounds much more fun.
Yeah, and actually, because it's much more fun, it's going to be sustainable. So when you've got the 3 months in, then you'll keep going. And that's just going to be the way that you now live, rather than, because we always say, the gym, believe and achieve, it should not take over your life. It should fit into it. These are busy women. They've got families, they've got jobs, they've got friends, they've got homes, they've got social lives. If it starts taking over, we're doing it wrong. We're not models, we're not athletes, we're not super fit. We don't need to be super focused. We just want to enjoy moving, enjoy our food, and feel great. So it's about setting those goals that align to the amount of effort and work you're willing to put in. Now, back in my 20s and 30s, I could go for the big, come on, let's go, let's cut this out, cut this. Not now. I just want to feel good, and that's how we want the women. So we're trying to break that binging, starving.
Yeah.
We've got to find that middle ground, because it's exhausting.
It's so bad for you, isn't it? It's so bad for your metabolism. It increases those feelings of disappointment with yourself and like shame for failing. If you're setting yourself up to fail, you're less likely to keep trying, aren't you? And I love what you said about reframing it, reframing your goals and putting that positive focus on them, and thinking about what it is you're going to gain when you make these changes. You're going to have more energy, you're going to feel great, you're going to have more choice in your wardrobe, rather than thinking about what I'm going to lose. I'm going to miss that food, I'm going to miss that time I could be watching telly when I should be at the gym. So we're never going to be motivated when we put a negative focus on it, are we? We're just like beating ourselves up, like, come on, like, it's not enjoyable, isn't it? But yeah, if you make the journey enjoyable, you're going to stick to it. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to be changes you can keep doing for life, rather than that diet cycle, isn't it?
Every diet works, Jo. Every diet works, but only for as long as you can keep doing it.
Exactly. So what's the point?
And I think one thing I do want to say is, quite often, I don't think women realise how many calories their bodies need. So, I mean, I'm generalising, but women roughly need about 2,000 calories a day to sustain. And then I come across women who are like, well, I'm not losing any weight and I'm only eating 800 calories. Oh, it's just, it's way too low. So I think really I'd advise people to look into, there's calorie calculators you can find online to just see the amount of calories that you need. And I think a lot of people will be surprised that, probably 1,500, 1,600 calories a day is great for weight loss. Sustainable, steady weight loss. We don't need to starve ourselves, and you can have 3 really filling meals on that, and snacks, and also remember, this is another good point, calories, it's not just about what you have in the day, it kind of balances out over the course of a week. So a lot of people go, oh my God, I've blown it on Monday. That's it. I'll have to wait till next Monday to start. But
oh my goodness.
If you have had, what you feel is too many calories on Monday, just knock a few hundred off each day for the rest of the week. Or a lot of our ladies, we like to maybe cut an extra 100 off during the week so we can have a nice Sunday dinner with a pudding and a glass of wine at the weekend. So it's play with the calories to work with you if you want to do the calorie eating. But I also really look at a lot of people don't like to count the calories, which I get. The 3-part plate method is a really great way to get a nice balanced meal. So when you look at your dinner plate, a fist of protein, a fist of complex carbs. By complex carbs, that's just think whole meal. Brown rice, brown pasta, brown bread, sweet potatoes, quinoa, that kind of thing. And then 2 fists of veg or salad.
Yeah.
You can do that for a meal. You've created a really well-balanced meal, the right portion size for you.
And I love that because it's really simple, isn't it? It's easy to remember because it can get really complicated and overwhelming, all the information and advice out there. Something like that is so simple. Don't need any complicated trackers or anything. I'm a big fan of getting protein and like healthy fats and veg into meals. So definitely is all of that. And that keeps you full, keeps you satisfied until your next meal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, really simple tips. And it's about kind of honouring ourselves, isn't it, as women, and not starving or restricting ourselves, just valuing our bodies and that we need to nourish them and feed them, not restrict them into submission. So that's maybe a bit of work around mindset you might need to do if you think it's okay to feed yourself 800 calories a day. It's just not enough to feel good, is it? It's not enough fuel to get you through your day. So we need to be okay with giving our bodies what they need.
Yeah, I like, rather than good and bad, energizing and draining.
Yeah, so it's fuel, isn't it?
It's see it as fuel, and your body is worth more than any kind of Lamborghini or whatever all these posh cars are. That and if you had one of those cars, you'd be looking after it with the best this fuel, whatever.
You'd put expensive diesel in, wouldn't you? Not just the cheap one.
Yeah. So it's I mean, what was that? You are what you eat, as Gillian said. I mean, she wasn't wrong.
She was not. She was right there, if that was all. Showing our age now, weren't we, Gillian McKee?
I know. The other couple of things to say about goal setting, long-term, medium-term, short-term is always great. And I think, and I am seeing a bit of a switch on social media now with this, that I think it's really great. There used to be a real big push. Oh my God, look how much she's lost in 6 weeks. Look how much she's lost in a month. Look how much she's lost it. And people are really switching now. It's like, rather than kind of saying, how much can I lose in a month? What can I achieve in a year?
Yes.
And kind of doing it on a much more positive. How strong can I be? How healthy can I feel? How energetic can I feel? So rather than kind of thinking, what can I achieve over the next few weeks? But I've got to start this diet on Monday and get the best results possible. What can you achieve by the end of 2024? How would you like to see yourself at Christmas? And then when you've got that kind of idea of where you'd like to be at the end of the year, pull it back. What's the halfway point? Where would you need to be at that halfway point to achieve that? And then we do break it down to a short-term goal of 4 weeks. Now, that has been scientifically proven to be the best length of time for a goal, because it's long enough to see results, but not too long to be overwhelming. So it's like, imagine climbing a mountain, Joe. So if you were looking at the top of the mountain the whole time, you'd be like exhausted, think, oh my God, I've got to get all the way up there. But that's your long-term goal. So we know we're heading up there, and we keep looking at it every now and again to remind ourselves that's the prize at the top, but then we focus on the short-term goal. I just need to get there. And then when we've got there, then it's another 4 weeks. And reflection and journaling, really important. Yeah. And that's one thing I could tell people to do is journaling. It's just, we have so many thoughts in our head all the time. As busy women, it's just jam-packed over and over. And it can be really hard to make sense of those thoughts, and it can create a lot of stress and overwhelm. So I would suggest get a lovely notebook that's just for you. Nobody else is ever going to read it. And at the end of each day, just get all those thoughts down on paper. Some days you might write 2 sentences, some days you might write 2 pages. But it's just helping getting those thoughts out. And then actually when you look at them, you sometimes kind of think, well, actually, I can't do anything about that. So why am I worrying? It's really out of my control. I'm just going to have to put that to one side. Or you might look at it and think, oh my, that's ridiculous. Why am I worried about that? It's, it's no big deal. It's because I don't know about you, but I'm a bit of a snowballer. If I've got a little tiny problem, I can like make it into something massive, and it's not. And just by getting those thoughts out, it can really help calm the mind, and it's a brilliant way to end the day. And if you can't think of anything to write, just start a gratitude journal.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
End of each day, 3 things you're really grateful for. And you can always find 3, no matter how bad the day's been, you could always find 3 things. And that's amazing. But what I would also, because you asked me to talk about, so how do we get over the guilt of failing?
Yeah, because I'm big on talking to women about those feelings of guilt and shame. I think that's something we can definitely pick up and carry and feel like we're failures and that we're no good. And like you were saying at the start, when we set, unrealistic goals, or we're focusing on the negative things that we want to change about ourselves, we just get stuck in that kind of shame cycle, and that is really unhelpful. And I guess goals can be a little bit triggering in that way. So I guess we've got to be careful, not do them because of that, but be careful about how we do them and do them in a way that you've described so well. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so definitely get the right level of goal, first of all, but then weekly reflection, it can be brilliant at just re-navigating. So it's like going on that journey again, isn't it? If you suddenly kind of cut and you think, oh, I'm not sure if we're going the right way, you would have a look at the map again to kind of see. So it's not about success or failure. It's about asking yourself, what worked well this week? What didn't work well this week? And what could I learn from it? And it might be one week you say, God, you know what? I've been at work. I didn't take packed lunch any day. And you might start to think, right, well, actually, I had a really big deadline at work and it was really stressful. And I had a lot on. And that's actually okay. I prioritized work because I had to that week, and I'm going to make peace. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It was a busy week. It's done. Let's move on. It might be that you think, oh, do you know what? I watched too many episodes on Netflix and I didn't get into the kitchen to prepare. And then you can kind of think, right, so now I know that before I sit down to watch Netflix, I need to get my lunch ready for the next day. So it's never about failing. It's always about learning. And that didn't quite work. So maybe the goal was too strict. Maybe it was too hard. So you kind of think, right, I'm just going to lower that a little bit. Maybe it's not exciting enough. Maybe it's not what you actually want to do. But it's about reflecting on why it worked, celebrating the things that did go well, because we're not very good at that either. We're too busy. We could do 9 things brilliantly, 1 thing bad, and that's the one thing that sticks in our head. We didn't do that very well, did you? Yeah, it's so celebrating what went well and building on that, working out what didn't work so well and how you can navigate around it the next. I'm a big fan. I call them kind of 80% goals. So like say if you're starting a new week, I wouldn't advise saying, right, 7 days next week, I'm doing 10,000 steps. Because if something happens on Monday and you don't do 10,000 steps, straight away you think, well, that's it, I failed. Whereas if you say 4 days next week, 3 days next week, I'm going to do 10,000 steps. If something happens on Monday, it's not a problem. I'm going to make sure I do it on Tuesday. If you do it for 5 days, brilliant. You feel even better because you beat your goal. So it's about setting the goals so they're achievable, and then reflecting on it and moving forward and seeing it as a constant. This is a never-ending journey, Joe. You know that we've got to do this forever and ever. So it's not a case of you've done it and achieved my goals, because even when you get to whatever your goal is, if it is a weight or a dress size, you've got to maintain it. We've got to keep those habits going. And actually what you'll probably find is when you get to a certain fitness and you do want to push it a bit, and then I want to lift that.
There'll be something else.
I want to do that. There's always something else. And that's the purpose, isn't it? That's kind of keeping you excited about life and making sure that we're growing and doing the best that we possibly can. So they're my tips. So get your why, make it something feeling and emotional, and moments that you can do. Write it down. What did I say? I've got, be really honest with the amount of effort and work you're willing to put in, and reflect and move forward. Yeah.
Oh, they're such great tips, and just simple and easy to apply. I think it's not overcomplicated, and it's a system for success. And I love the idea of having that weekly check-in, because it's just a bit of course correction, isn't it? It's not judging yourself or seeing yourself as a failure. It's just noticing the facts and correcting them. We all get off track. Me, you, we all do it. We all have to get back on track, hopefully, but the more and more you do it, you'll get less off track and stay more on track. And I'm a big fan of this sort of 80-20 lifestyle, because you have to kind of have that margin just to enjoy life and have fun and have a bit of cake and go out with your friends. But trusting that the 80% is enough to keep you feeling well and healthy. So I think as women, we can be a bit guilty of that all or nothing thinking, like you're talking about, oh, I've messed up today, so I'm going to write the rest of the week off. But actually, no, it's just today. It's not a big deal. I'll get back on it tomorrow.
You only need the 100% if you're an athlete or a fitness model.
And can't be bothered with that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, we don't.
We like cake too much. It's fine. Oh, that is so good. And brilliant tips for everyone listening. And I've made loads of notes myself. I was going to ask you quickly, I purposely invited you on in spring because I think there's so much pressure to set massive goals in January when it's cold and dark and we've got loads of chocolate left from Christmas. I mean, if you're motivated to do it then, fine. But would you say there's a good time to set goals? I love the idea of like the regular check-ins going forward, but if this is all kind of new to you, you know you want to make changes, is there a good time of year, or is it more about how you're feeling? Maybe you're just ready. Do you go with your energy, your motivation? Like what would you say about that?
I would say any minute of any day of any week of any month is a great time to set goals. If you're ready, go for it. I mean, I do love New Year. I'm a vision board person. I don't go out New Year's Eve anymore. I just can't handle it. So my New Year's Eve is I create my vision board for the year. And I do like, but you're right. And then January, it's cold, it's dark, it's horrible. But yeah, anytime that you're ready. And I think why not? Because I think a lot of us, we start the diets on the Monday, and I think oh god, so my friend used to call it the Last Supper. So she'd like eat all the food in the house over the weekend because she was starting the diet on the Monday. Tell you what, why not just break it up? Start on Thursday. And then already you've kind of broken the old pattern of kind of, oh, hang on, it's that right, no problem. Yeah. So yeah, anytime that you're ready, I think you need to surround yourself with other people who get it. That's a massive part of being able to succeed. What is it? You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I love that phrase. I don't know if you don't rock the boat. I don't know if you can. So how you sort of look at it is if you decide, right, today I'm going to set some new goals, it doesn't just impact you. It impacts everybody, your close family, your close friends. Because basically, if you think of yourself, you're in a rowing boat and all those people are in there with you. If you suddenly stand up and say, I'm changing things, I want to go into that boat, the boat starts to rock. And then some people will be like, yeah, brilliant, you go for it. And they're going to support you and they're going to help you. Other people won't like it. Sit down, don't rock the boat. Because when you start to show what change is possible, it makes them feel bad at what change they're not doing. So you've got to make sure, I'm not saying you kind of lose your friends or anything, but you've got to make sure that you have some time with those people who are going to support and push you forward. And I think if you've got the why of why you want to do it, if you've got the right people around you, then any time to start is perfect.
Yeah, that's great. I think being ready is the key, like wanting to do it, isn't it? Being ready. You're sick of how you've been feeling, you want to make some changes and you're ready. And one of my questions was going to be kind of like, once you've set goals, how do you stick to them? But I think you've given us some great tips already, like writing them down, like you say, I can't remember the percentage, but it makes you so many percent more likely to stick to them. Yeah, I think it's about 40, isn't it? But also, like you say, having accountability, not just to yourself, but to someone else. So I think that's why what you've created is so powerful, that they've got you, they've got coaches, they've got instructors, but they've also got each other. These women, they've got this amazing community that you've created. And that also makes it so much easier and more likely to stick to your goals when you've shared them with others and you've got people cheering you on. Because I think you're right. And I think that could be a whole other podcast, that other people's reactions to when you change can sometimes be unhelpful, because in a way you're kind of holding a mirror up to them. You're not meaning to. You're doing your thing, they're doing theirs, that's fine. But sometimes when we change, it doesn't serve what other people need or expect from us, or makes them feel uncomfortable, but we can't let that hold us back. And if it does, maybe that's something to journal about and to be curious about, like why we're letting that hold us back. We're playing small to suit other people. So I think those two things for sticking to your goals are really powerful. Writing them down, sharing them, being around other positive people. Anything you'd add to that?
I mean, getting a coach is always good.
Absolutely, I'd agree with you there.
I've got a coach. It's always great to have somebody who's a few steps ahead, that is there to inspire you, support you, and just give you. We all need help. We all need a plan. Nobody's
Definitely
got it all nailed. So it's just surround yourself with great, positive people, and And I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins and all his work. And he's kind of like, look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Somebody out there has already got the solution to whatever your problem is. Copy it. So somebody, you know, there's coaches out there who can help you. And yeah, absolutely use those support or get them the support from them and go for it.
Definitely. Love it. And yeah, it's just hard to make changes by yourself. It's easy to not stick to your goals when it's only you that knows about them. You can easily just think, oh, it's just me. Like, it doesn't matter if I don't go to the gym today. But when you've shared that, you're more likely to do it, aren't you?
And it could be really good as well. Sorry, Jo, but
no, you're fine.
You set in something that's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to run a 5K race. Maybe you're going to climb Mount Tor. Maybe you're going to I don't know, do sexy lingerie shoots. Why not? You know, give yourself something, an actual thing that you're working towards, and then shout about, right, in October, I am doing, and then it's there, it's out there. And you've got to go for it. Yeah. Yeah,
brilliant.
I'd rather do the lingerie shoot than the run, to be fair. And
maybe, I don't know what's more uncomfortable. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah. No, definitely don't like running. Do anything but run.
I like how you feel after a run. Don't enjoy it at the time, but I love the endorphins. So you've kind of mentioned, you know, doing your weekly reviews. I also kind of encourage my clients to like a monthly review, see if you want to set new goals or if you're still working on the previous months if they're not quite set in stone yet. So I think I'm all about the reviews. But how often should we sort of stop and maybe, as well as your weekly reviews, do you recommend other points in the year to like reflect, set new goals? You know, how would you encourage people to do that?
It's a constant ongoing process. Yeah. So I tend to, personally, I think in a 12-week time span, and then I break it down to kind of the 4 weeks. And then you'll find as you go through those 4 weeks, the 12-week goal might change a little bit. You might make it a little bit tougher or a little bit easier. It's a constant, ongoing cycle, I think. And you know, sometimes if you know that you've got like a busy month coming up or a busy 12 weeks coming up, the goals get a little bit, you know, I just want to maintain. Like at Christmas time with the people at the gym, we don't set goals over December. We actually just say, I want to maintain. Go have fun, go enjoy yourself. And then when we come back in January, we'll reassess and see where you want to go to. And it just takes that pressure off. You know, nobody wants to feel guilty about enjoying the Christmas dinner and everything. So it's about looking at your social calendar and sort of working with that and just linking it all together. But for me, it's definitely just an ongoing cycle all the time.
Yeah, so whatever works for you, as long as you've got those regular check-ins and those times to reflect and look forward is helpful. And like you say, sort of noticing what's going on for you. Like if you've got a lot going on, being a bit kinder and more gentle to yourself, like you maybe can't focus as much on nutrition or exercise because you've got this going on, but maybe next month you can pick that back up again, and just trusting that, like you say, overall it'll all kind of work out, won't it?
And that's the brilliant thing about having that 80-20, because if you think 80-20 goes along, like you might have sometimes when you're really busy, so like I'm not doing so great, but then you might be able to, so you kind of, rather than this of the binge off the binge, we've got more of this.
Yeah. And that is life. Life is never just a straight path or like a straight line up the way, is it? It's always a bit up and down, but it's just minimizing those peaks and troughs, isn't it?
Yeah. And being gentle with yourself and appreciate it. Actually, do you know what? Work right now is crazy, or the kids are doing this, or partner's working away, or whatever. And realizing that and thinking, okay, it's got to be really busy for the next 4 weeks. So I'm just going to take a little step back.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine.
Being okay with that is important, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, that's been so good. I love everything you've said. So helpful and so practical. I love it when it's just really practical, easy to apply. So spot on. I'm sure we're all feeling super inspired after that. So Claire, tell us, like, how can we stay in touch? How can we follow what we're up to? How can we get involved if we're a lady in Sheffield looking to get fitter and find community? I know you've got a new program starting in the next few weeks, haven't you? So tell us, how we can stay in touch and what you've got going on.
So every month we run a 4-week healthy kickstart, which is for anybody who's interested in joining the gym. So it's just 4 weeks to come along, give the whole program a go, see what you think. You could train either 2 times a week or 3 times a week, and they start the first week of each month. So to get in touch, we've got the website, believeachieveuk.com. I am on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram got hacked last year.
No. Oh.
2 Believe Achieve accounts now. Mine's the one with only 300 people. The other one is, I mean, I don't even know what they did with it. What was the point? But Facebook is great. So Believe Achieve UK on Facebook. That's the main way, really. But we do a free session. If you're kind of like, oh, I'm not really sure, then you're very welcome to come along, have a go at a session, meet some of the women, and just we'd love to show you how much fun weight training can be, because it is great fun. And we do totally understand that starting something new is scary, but everyone who's there has been there. And, you know, we only had like 40, 45 members. We're tiny. So we know everybody and we look after everybody. So yeah, if you want to come along for a trial session, just get in touch, and love to see you.
Amazing. Sounds great. Sounds like a really fab family to be part of. And even if you're not living in Sheffield, definitely connect with Claire, because you share lots of inspiring, motivating messages. So yeah, follow along. So Claire, just for fun, we like to finish talking about food, because we love food. We love talking about it, love eating it. So I know this has been a difficult question to answer, but can you share what you would choose for your last meal on earth?
Okay, this is really bad, but you said this was fun, so I went with a fun answer. Do you know what I'd have, Jo? I'd have a picky tea.
Oh, you like a picky tea? Okay.
Tea.
Bit of
yeah,
everything.
A bit of everything. You know, those teas where you just bit of crisp, bit of bread, bit of cheese, bit of crackers, just get it all on there. That would be my last meal on earth. Totally unhealthy, totally beige, but
doesn't matter.
Last meal.
Love it. And you can kind of cheat, because you could literally have anything on there, couldn't you? So you could have all your favourite foods. So
everything,
covering all the bases. Love it. Oh, Claire, it's been so good to chat to you today. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your passion and your wisdom with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.